guys, welcome back to another video. So today we're going to be talking about kind of what security forces is like operational once you get past basic and you're done with tech school now. You took RAP, you took leave, whatever. Now you're at your first duty station and you want to know what it's going to be like once you get here. So I am here to explain kind of what the first 6 months are going to be like once you get there. And again, this could change from base to base, so not every base is going to be like this, but typically you'll have these set objectives to meet once you get to your first base. So you will, every base, you will have something that is called guard mount, and it's basically like roll call, making sure that everyone who is supposed to be at work is there, everyone knows where they're posted at. They give you pass-ons from prior shifts or what to expect for your shift, any events, any news, any messages from leadership. Then, now this kind of depends base to base, but you'll have something called guard mount training. Now this is for, it's really actually kind of nice when you first get to your base because you'll have basically guard mount training probably every day that you work, and this is what's going to help you prepare for something else that's coming along the line, which we'll get to later. But basically guard mount training is going to be, you will have a topic and you will fall out of the flight, because when you're in guard mount it's you fall in, which you'll hopefully you should learn about at tech school. I believe we learned about it maybe like the last 2 weeks that we were there, and it's kind of like open ranks. So like in BMT and tech school, you'll know what open ranks are by now. So it's kind of like that, but it's not. You don't have to like put your arm out, and it's not like a uniform inspection, but you'll kind of fall in like that. So you'll fall out, come to the front of the flight, and you will stand at attention, say your rank and name, and today's guard mount training is on blank. And then you will go to parade rest and explain the topic. And it can range from, I think my very first guard mount training was the first 3 general orders, which you will know from tech school pretty easy. And then it can range as you continue to more complex topics. So seatbelt requirements for your base, what to do for a DUI, what to call in for traffic stops, stuff like that. So it'll range, and it could be on anything. And based on your mission, again, it can change, because my friend, who you guys have seen in other videos, is his base is completely different from mine. So we both had guard mount training, but mine was tailored to kind of what we do here on the day-to-day versus his is what kind of what they do, and it's completely separate, but still kind of the same concept. So you will have that, and what this is doing is helping you to get ready for your QC. Now this is like a quality check, basically making sure you know how to do your job. So I don't know if it's the same for every base, but here at my base, you have the first 60 days to get it done. So once you get here in process, and you're on flight now, which means flight just means you are working. We'll have 60 days from then, and you will get ready for your QC. So my initial QC here was on the gates. So that's where everyone kind of initially starts off at. And you will have 2 parts of it. You'll have a practical part and then a questions. So the practical part is you actually doing your job and knowing what to do if a certain event happens. And what they will do is they'll have something happen and you will deal with it. So they'll have something happen at the gate, and then based on everything that you've learned throughout the 60 days and throughout your guard mount trainings and stuff like that, you will handle it. And then after that, you will go on to do your questions. And the questions again will range. Um, you will have like a pamphlet that'll basically go over all the operating instructions for your job, and it tells you everything that you're supposed to do, what you need to know, and they just randomly pick questions out of that pool and ask you. And that is, after you pass that, you are certified then for your duty position. And so once you get certified for your duty position, you are good. You're good to go. So normally you would move on to during this time between getting to your base and um, studying for your QC, you will have CDCs on top of that. But they kind of got rid of CDCs for security forces, so you don't have to worry about doing CDCs for right now. Um, there's rumors that it's going to be replaced with something else, but as of right now, there are no CDCs. So during this time, you can use this time to get volunteering done. If you want to go back to school, take classes, stuff like that, which is what I'm doing right now. I'm taking classes. So it's a nice little window of time between doing that and volunteering and stuff like that because um, my EPR, I qualify for my EPR this next March. So in a year, roughly like 11 months, and you want to make sure that you have everything in order. So this is like the perfect time where you don't have to worry about kind of studying and doing stuff, um, extra stuff at work, that you can kind of get these things done, which is really nice. Once you get to your first base, this time can be a little stressful. I mean, you know, you're transitioning from tech school to actual duty station, and there's a lot going on during this time. You're in process and you're meeting new people, you're meeting new leadership, you're getting assigned your first supervisor, you're getting initial feedback on what their expectations are of you. There's a lot going on in this time, so it's it can be nerve wracking, your first base. So for a lot of people, this is again you're continuing to be away from home, but now at least you kind of have your own space, and you're just trying to get into the flow of things. So that is my piece on kind of like the first kind of two main things to be prepared for depending on where you go. And like I said earlier, you could possibly have other things that your base may require in addition to those two things. But for the most part, each base will have those things. You're going to have some type of roll call, guard mount thing before your shift, and you will have a QC to make sure that you understand all the information, and you're good to get your initial certification. So I have kind of a couple other questions that people have been asking me that I'll go ahead and just answer regarding your first duty station. Number one was, do you get tased at your first duty station? So it depends on where you go if they have tasers, but at my base we do carry tasers, and I did get tased. So that will happen again. It just depends. Another question was if you get OC sprayed. Now you if you're watching this prior to going to tech school, you actually get OC sprayed in tech school now. So I did not get OC sprayed in tech school. I was not in the new course that they have out. I was in the older course. So we did not get OC sprayed. And on top of that, at my base that I'm at, we do not carry OC spray. So I have not been OC sprayed. But I do know several people that I went to tech school with that are at their first base, where they do carry OC spray, and you do have to get OC sprayed because you carry it, and you'll have to be able to, if you ever use it on someone, you'll have to be able to testify in a court possibly, the effects of it, and you know what it feels like basically. So no, I have not been OC sprayed, and from what I hear, people will take getting tased like 10 times versus getting OC sprayed. And also, I heard that people think that the gas chamber at BMT is like 500 times better than getting OC sprayed. So there's that. The next question was if they're 341s after tech school. There are not. So after you get out of tech school, you don't have 341. However, there are things that are a lot worse than that actually will go on your file, like an LOC or an LOR or getting an Article 15. So there may not be 341s, but if you do something bad that would normally you would get your 341 pulled, like maybe being late for something, not shaving, um, hair out of rags, etc. Instead of getting a 341 pulled, you could get an LOC, or an LR. So there's kind of like you don't have to worry about carrying these things and getting stopped and having it pulled, but at the same time you could get something a lot worse, which is actual paperwork that will be in your file. The next question was, what is my day-to-day like when I go to work? So for me, I am on swings, which is basically like second shift, like a 2 to 10 type thing. Um, I'll go to work, we will have guard mount, and it kind of depends on where I'm posted, but let's say I'm at the gate. Um, we'll have guard mount, we'll go over stuff that happened last shift, over the weekend, whatever the case may be, stuff from leadership, any appointments, etc. We'll fall out from guard mount and post, and then we'll go out to our post. We'll do changeover, making sure everything is there. There's a changeover sheet. You're just making sure that all the required equipment that is up there is actually up there. The other shift will leave, and then you'll take on that post, and then you will start working. So, at the gate, you are checking IDs, and that is pretty much your shift. The next question I got asked was, what are post checks, and if that is something that happens very frequently, and if it is really as bad as I have heard. So yes, there are post checks, and a post check is when your flight chief or your leadership comes out to your post. So your flight chief being an E6 or higher, so a technical sergeant or higher, or it also could be a DAF, which would be a GS7 or higher, if it's a DAF officer, which is like the civilian side of, because we have enlisted us, and then like the civilian side that will help us will help us. So if they come out to your post, or if your chief comes out, or your commander, or the base commander, anyone in your kind of chain of command comes out to your post, and you report your post to them. So you tell them, you stand at the position of attention, customs and courtesies if they're an officer, and you report your post to them. So you report who you are, if the post is secure, and then you ask them if they want a post briefing, which is where, again, you're gonna list down everything that your post has. So, and it changes obviously post to post. So you will, if they say yes, you will continue to stand at attention and give this post briefing. If they say no, then they'll say no, no thanks, and then you'll go to parade rest. As far as what's in the post briefing, for my base, It starts off again, your name, your rank name, what post you are, and if it's all secure. And then you ask them, would you like a post briefing? And they'll say yes or no. Let's say they say yes. So then you'll repeat what post you are. You'll tell them your post limits, your primary responsibilities, your primary means of communication, your alternate means of communication, your um, what you are currently armed with, and who your on-duty flight chief is, or your area supervisor. Again, depending on where you are, what FPCon condition we're in, and if they have any questions, will be the last thing you will say. As far as how frequent they are, it really depends on your base, your leadership. If it's just your flight chief, they may not want a post briefing because, they're just doing a post check and they just want to make sure you're good to go. Everything's good. If you have questions, concerns, maybe they want to talk to you about something. So they'll just say no. But maybe if your chief comes out, they would want a post briefing, and again, they're doing post checks. So after your post briefing, they're gonna continue to talk to you and ask you if you have any questions, feedback, stuff like that. And then the last part of the question is if they suck, or if they are as bad as if if they are as bad as I heard. I think when you first get to your base and you are brand new, they I wouldn't say it can suck, but it could be nerve wracking because you may not know the information. So it takes, studying that to know what to say, and being comfortable with that. So, and then also they're going to be frequent because they want to make sure you know the information. So when you first get there, will you have to give a lot of post briefings? Probably, because again, you're learning. They want to make sure you know the information, and it's just something that you will have to do as you go on. That's not to say that just because you're a staff sergeant, you will never have to give a post briefing, because that is definitely not true. The last question here is, I heard that Security Forces Tech School has changed since your last video. Can you give us an update on what has changed? So, Security Forces Tech School has changed since my tech school video, as well as BMT, since my BMT videos. The Air Force and the military in general is always changing, so not everything is, staying the same. I do have some information on uh, the new tech school course that I will be sharing in my next video, so make sure you guys watch that. I kind of will just briefly summarize some of the changes that they are making, and again continue to make. Along with BMT, things are changing. Airman's Week being taken out and being put back in. So it's always, everything's always changing, and in the military, you just have to be able to adapt to that change. Well, anyway, guys, that is going to do it for today's video. Um, like always, if you have any questions or comments, make sure to leave those down below. Make sure you subscribe, and I will see you in my next video, where we will be talking about some of the changes for Security Forces Tech School. So if you're interested in that video, make sure that you subscribe and turn the notification bell on, and we'll see you in my next video. Take care, guys.